Hello parents and professionals, and welcome to this month's video. So there's so much, there's just so much going on right now for everybody, and not least for those of you who have children at home unexpectedly, are now teachers yourselves, had not planned for that ever to happen in your lives. So yeah, lots has happened. Now, before I jump into talking about what we're here to talk about today, which is how to get a better connection with your child, let me just say, and I will repeat it again at the end, every single day, Monday to Thursday each week, I am posting a video on the NLP for Kids Facebook page. It also goes out to our community group, and it also goes out to my personal NLP for Kids practitioner page, which is Gemma Bailey, NLP for Kids Hertfordshire. Every Monday to Thursday, there is, it's from 12:15 till 12:30-ish. There is a live video where you can interact with me, tell me what challenges you are experiencing since you've been at home dealing with COVID-19 and young people in your house full time, in isolation, in lockdown, etc. We've covered so far things like dealing with anger, self-esteem problems, routine and establishing one in our newfound world, how to deal with young people who want to go out and meet up with their friends when they really can't. Like, so many topics have been covered so far in the last 2.5, 3 weeks. If you want that extra little bit of help, support, inspiration, hints, tips, etc., then make sure you head on over to the NLP for Kids Facebook page, check out those previous videos, and leave your suggestions or requests for the upcoming videos. Each one is 15 minutes long, so it's a good chunk of content every single day ish that you can tap into to really get that extra support that you might need. In addition, the NLP for Kids community group is a place where you can interact with other parents with children of all different age ranges, who will also be able to share with you the things that have worked for them on a practical level since the whole virus epidemic has broken out. That's that. All right, so let's talk about what we're really here to talk about today, which is how to create a better connection with your young people. Now, the reason why I think this is an important video to do at this time is because from what I'm seeing and the questions and comments and concerns that I'm hearing about, and there's been a few because we have been advertising for the online therapeutic interventions that we can do with young people. I've spoken to around 70 parents in the last 2 weeks, and there are some themes popping up, and the themes tend to be around things like anger, dealing with anxiety, and just all stuff that comes down to not great communication between parent and child, and also just not great connection overall between parent and child. Now, this video is obviously going to be more focused for parents this month because not many professionals are actually interacting with young people at the moment, because there's no school and we're not running the groups that we would normally be running for these young people to attend. However, if you are a professional, then you may be interacting with parents in a similar way to what I do, in that you maybe work with them on a therapeutic level or a coaching level. You might have parents reaching out to you saying, I don't know what to do, my child is experiencing X, and you know, X equals whatever the issue may be. Ultimately, if we can get that communication and connection side of things down, then we're going to be helping those parents to make some steps in the right direction. Okay, so one of the first things that we need to be aware of when we are looking to create a better connection with our young people is we have to get our own agenda out of the way. Now, that may sound like a bit of an oxymoron, because maybe your agenda is to create a bit better connection with your young person, and I'm saying get your agenda out of the way. What I mean by this is you might have an agenda of wanting them to listen, wanting them to calm down, wanting them to be more confident. Like, get all of that thinking out of the way, because the thing is they're not stupid. And if they feel like you are interacting with them, conversing with them, like just even going and sitting with them because you want to approach a subject that they're not comfortable with ordinarily. If they feel like you have an agenda that is different to theirs and that your agenda is one that they do not want to fulfill, you are going to meet with resistance. We want to be able to minimize that resistance. It needs to be that the connection you create with them is seamless in a way, that it's flowing, that it's easy, that it's comfortable. As soon as you start flagging up things like, we've got a problem with our communication, as soon as you start flagging up things like, I just don't feel like we're in a good place right now, I don't feel like we've got a good relationship going on, it's much more likely to create that sense of resistance from them, but also to make them feel a little bit under scrutiny and under attack. If it is important that we raise the fact that there is an issue, you have to focus on where it is we want to get to and not where it is that we are right now. So that might mean saying something like, I know that you're not as happy as you could be right now, and ultimately I want you to be happy. I know that you're not feeling as comfortable and confident as you could do right now. I want to make sure that we can improve on that situation, because that's difficult to resist. You know, if you say to someone, I want to make sure that really good things happen for you in the future, it's difficult for someone to go, no, I don't want that. You know, they would almost be foolish if they were to say so. So if we need to flag up the fact that there is some kind of connection and communication problem, then that's going to be the way that we go about doing it. But otherwise, we are just not going to mention the fact that we're kind of working on something here. So we need to get our own agenda out of the way. And instead, what we're going to be doing is thinking about how they like to communicate, how they like to listen, what makes them feel good. So we've really got to kind of turn the tables, and instead of thinking about like, why are my needs not getting met here? Why do I not feel good in this relationship? We're going to be thinking about what would work for them right now, because the thing is, what we ultimately want when we're building connection and trust with others is we have to make the other person feel good enough to allow themselves to be a bit more vulnerable and a little bit more kind of open to letting us into their life. If what we're doing is just thinking about what we can get out of it, like, why is this connection missing for me? Why is the communication not there for me? It becomes quite a selfish act, and the other person does pick up on that at some level, and so they're more likely to want to shut themselves off, because it's like you're constantly wanting something from them that they're not satisfying you with or able to give you. So we've got to instead stop thinking about what our needs and wants are in this relationship and start thinking about what their needs and wants are in the relationship, how it is that we can fulfill those, and then we'll see that that connection begins to build without the resistance there. It does become like a seamless, like flowing, beautiful thing that we begin to work towards. So we're going to be really invested in them. Really invested in, how do I make this person feel good? How do I have this person feel most relaxed around me? How do I have this person, you know, feel at their absolute best given all of the circumstances that we're currently dealing with? And the key thing is, beyond that, beyond making them feel good and developing the trust and getting that connection and better communication flowing between us, we then have to know, how do I know when I've got it? Given who this young person is that I'm building connection with, realistically, what's it going to look like when I've got it with them? Given who it is that we're working with, like, what's it likely to look like? So if you have a teenage son, for example, who mainly skulks around a little bit like this, then what's a realistic observation? What is a realistic likelihood of what that connection with that young person is going to look like? Maybe it is that realistically we make them laugh to the extent of a snigger. Like, that may be it. Maybe it's that we get more than a one-word answer. Maybe it is that they share something with us. maybe it's that. So you've got to sort of work within the realms of realisticness, and make it fit for the young person that we are referring to. If you are working with a 3-year-old girl, and I'm obviously massively overgeneralizing here about, how these young people show up at these various different age brackets. That is simply for speed and explanation of what we're talking about today. If you're working with, if you are a parent of a 3-year-old girl, then maybe connection on that basis is that she offers for you to play Barbie with her. So just think about like who they are, but what is a realistic outcome to be working towards? What does connection with that particular person look like, so that you know when you've got it? Because sometimes, again, it's about getting ourselves out of the way in these interactions. If what connection looks like to us, if what our expectations are that they're going to spend 3 hours with us in deep, meaningful conversation, that's maybe a lovely expectation to have, but it might be unrealistic for the person that you are referring to. If you think about it, even with your own other members of your extended family, or even your own parents, sometimes you have great connection with those people, and you know that you have great connection because you spend 3 hours on the phone talking to each other about nonsense. But you don't necessarily have that with everyone. And just because your child is your flesh and blood doesn't necessarily mean that they want to connect with you in the same way that they connect with other people, or that you connect with other people. We've all got these different relationships available to us. And as a result of these different relationships, we have almost different sorts of standards and different rules and different levels of communication that we might participate in. So you've got to be realistic about what good communication with this young person would look like, given who they are and the circumstances that they are currently in. Like, what does an improvement look like? And then what does real connection look like on the other side of that? And what does connection look like for them? If your young person is old enough and mindful enough to know that right now you guys are not getting on as well as you could do, and you're able to have a conversation around that, what to them would be better? Like, what for them would make it seem like it was better? Maybe for them, all they need is for you to relax and chill out a little bit. Maybe for them, all they need to know is that you believe in them, that you have hope for them and their future, that you are... You're not going to keep going on about the fact that things are not as perfect between the two of you as they should be. You're happy to accept them the way that they already are. Maybe it's those sorts of things. Whereas for you, it might mean something else. Get on the same page so that at least if you are in a position to work on this problem together, and you might be, that you have an idea of what each other's outcomes would look like if you were to be able to achieve them. All right, so key things are, we're going to get ourselves out of the equation, and instead of thinking about what we want to get from this, think about like what do I need to do to really build up the connection, communication, and trust with them? Do I need to adjust the way in which I am listening to them, the way in which I'm communicating with them? Give more interest into the interests that they have. Give them more space if that's indeed what they are asking for. Sometimes part of like bringing people closer together is actually about stepping further away for a time as well. So think about what you need to do for them rather than what it is you need to get out of this for yourself. Once we have got ourselves out of the equation, think about what the outcome is going to look like, given the fact that we're being realistic about who they are, what age they are, and what actual connection might be like for them, rather than just what it is like for us. And if we can communicate with them about what it is that we're working on, then we will. But it is absolutely not necessary, because we're the one with the problem here. They're quite possibly not experiencing any kind of problem except for the way in which we are interacting with them. So keep all of those things in mind. add your comments in the comments box below. If you have found that during lockdown your connection with your children has improved, how did you do that? Like, what's changed? If you weigh up how life is now compared to how it was before, and I don't just mean on a practical level, but what's different? How has your interaction changed? Like, maybe there's some important clues in there for other people. If you are not already a follower of the NLP for Kids Facebook page, it is facebook.com/nlpforkids.org is the main page. Our community group you will find connected to the main Facebook page. On both of those Facebook pages you will find Monday to Thursday. The Facebook live sessions occur between 12:15 and 12:30. They are at least 15 minutes long and include lots of other hints and tips for you on your day-to-day practical living with COVID-19 whilst in isolation. The community group is a great place for you to share stuff like we've been talking about here, what your learnings have been, what your challenges are that still remain. I can then address those in the future Facebook live sessions that we do. And if you did not already, get your hands on a copy of Stop Anxiety and Grow Confidence. You'd think I'd know the title given that I wrote the book. This book is more appropriate now than it has ever been at any point in the past. I'm going to include a link to this in the description box below so that you can go and get your hands on a copy. It is sold on Amazon. This is like, if you need to get your head around your kids' psychology and how to improve their confidence levels or reduce anxiety, this is going to be the way forward for you. All right, but for now, thank you so much for watching and listening. It's been a pleasure speaking to you today. Keep yourselves safe, keep yourselves well, remember to wash your hands and stay locked inside until the government advise otherwise. All right, take care everyone, and I will see you next month. Bye.